You signed up for Dopey and you started a training plan, and now you're wondering, how on earth am I going to get through that weekend and 4 races? Been there and done that, so we'll talk about it and I'll tell you what I know about getting through that weekend as an older, overweight, slow guy. So you've signed up for the Dopey and you've started training, hopefully, but you're wondering about how you're going to get through it. So let me talk about that. I am a bona fide expert, having done it exactly once. So here we pause and I will show you my credentials for it. In case anyone's wondering, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. There's the Dopey Instant Medal Collection. And yep, one of the coolest things I've ever done. So love this, love this. Awesome stuff. 48.6 magical miles. Because at the moment I'm sitting in a hotel room on a work function and I don't have my Dopey stuff with me. But you just saw it. And I did do it. And if a lard butt like me can get through the Dopey, so can you. So if you got questions on how to do it, answer number one is train. And I know that's a total duh moment, but the fact is you've got to put in some miles so that you can put in the miles. What I'm going to talk more about is how to manage those miles and manage your 4 days of Dopey so that you can get through it and get through it intact. So it does not matter whether you're doing the Galloway plan, the Higdon plan, any of the other plans. Pick one that works for you and start doing it. And my personal recommendation is you need to be doing at least 3 days a week. You need to be building up to where you're doing at least 5 miles at a time during your midweek runs. And then there's the proverbial Sunday long run. And here's what trips up a lot of people is, depending on the plan, that long run slowly ramps up 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 to 26 miles. And Mr. Galloway will say, because you get in that 25, 26 mile run, then you know you can do it. And this apparently is an issue that I've encountered firsthand, not myself, but seeing another runner, and that I've read about and heard and seen in the forums, is people mentally doubting themselves to the point where it's self-defeating. And okay, I get it. The first order of business is to be able to trust your training and realize that you can do it, and that there are people that do it and they do it solely by walking. So my bigger point though is you don't necessarily have to do a 26-mile run to convince yourself you can do it. I'm going to let you in on a secret. My longest long run was 9 or 10 miles. That was it. And I will go into how that worked when I talk about the 4 days of strategy. But I will also say I was building up to where my weekday runs, at least 3 times a week, were hitting 4 and 5 miles. And at one point, about a month or so before the Dopey, I did those without a day of rest in between. I did them back to back to back just to get a feel for what it would be like running consecutive days like that. And I get that there are people that run at least that many miles every afternoon. Swell, more power to them. It was something new for me. And I've done 10Ks and I've done halves, and actually had done a marathon before I did the Dopey. I had done the Goofy once years before, so I knew I could get through it. But that said, you need to put in the miles, you need to build up your stamina, and you need to build up the endurance in your muscles. And this is where Mr. Galloway will tell you, even if you can't run it all, walk it, because the walking endurance is endurance. So that is that part, is you're going to have to put in the miles. Pick your plan, and if you don't have the time for the full 26 miles, do what you can, right? Do 10 miles, do 12, do 15. If you get to where you can do 15, you're fine. And I guess I might as well segue straight into that. So breaking down the Dopey, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday is the 5K. Friday is the 10K, Saturday is the half, Sunday is the big kahuna, the full marathon. So for starters, it is 4 straight days of getting up bright and early at like 2:30 in the morning so you can get out there to the staging area. Plan accordingly. And if you're taking family or friends and y'all want to hit the parks, you need to build in some nap time. So again, I'm going to say plan accordingly, or else you're going to be really short on sleep and falling asleep in the middle of It's a Small World or something, which could be a blessing, but that's something separate. So Thursday morning, AC just kicked in. We'll pause here. I'm actually going to start at the real start of the Dopey, which is Wednesday, where you need to go do bib pickup. And you're going to go over to the Wild World of Sports area, and you're going to have to hit 3 different buildings typically. You've got the building where you go pick up your bibs. Then you've got the building where you go get your shirts. And then there's a separate building for any merchandise you'd like to buy. And I drive down from the Atlanta area, and I had allocated all sorts of time. I should have showed up with hours to spare. I am partway down and I see a big fog of something coming out from behind my car. I pull over, the underside is coated in transmission fluid. Fortunately, a mile later was an exit with a Ford dealer, and bless the Ford dealership in Cordelia, Georgia. They took my car. I mean, I just handed them the keys. I filled out no paperwork, no nothing. The shop manager drove me up the road to a lady that rented cars, and he's like, we'll look at it while you're gone. Pick it up on the way back Sunday. Holy cow. You cannot beat that. And I will put the name of the Ford dealer up here because I am still very thankful for their great service. It turns out my transmission been overfilled, and there is no dipstick on these recent Mustangs. The transmission is, quote, sealed, and the little dipstick is about that high. It's on the side. You got to put it up on a lift, and you got to have it running. It is quite a procedure to check it. So it turned out, in hindsight, that I pretty much vented the excess overboard, because when they checked it, they said it checked out fine, and it's been great ever since. That said, I drove like a bat out of heck all the way down to Florida. I pulled into the Wild World of Sports with 15 minutes to spare before closing, went running through there. The booth for Dopey is like one booth, right? You've got this whole floor full of all of the booths for A through K and K through M and all that for the different races. For the Dopey, it's this one little booth, and they will give you 2 bibs. And it turns out a bib is good for about 2 races, and it is pretty ratty and nasty. So you will get a bib for the 5 and the 10K and a bib for the half and the full. Similarly, if you're doing the Goofy Challenge, you get 1 bib and it covers both races. So give yourself time to get down there, because I went, grabbed the bib, ran over to the other building, got my shirts, and because it's a shirt for all 4 races, plus the Goofy Challenge, plus the Dopey Challenge, it's 6 shirts. You get an instant shirt collection that's going to go with your instant medal collection. And then from there, I went to get merchandise. All I wanted was a mug and a magnet, maybe a shirt. It's all gone. There are apparently people who enter these races and snatch up all of the Dopey merch to put it on eBay. And I think Disney is starting to get a little bit better about this, but it was really dismaying that this was going to be one of the coolest things I had ever done and no merchandise to show for it. Like I said, all I wanted was my coffee mug for my morning coffee and a magnet to put up. Nothing. The stuff was all gone. I think I scored the shirt you saw earlier, and that's about it. That and the race shirts. I had to make my own mug. I bought a Dopey Challenge sticker off of eBay and stuck it on a cheap mug from Target, and that's my Dopey mug. So that's your expo day. And now that they've got the Brooks shoes, I went through this with Springtime Surprise. That first day of the expo, you've got to have some kind of electronic ticket to get in, and there's a whole second queue in the merch building to go get your Brooks shoes that you want. So allocate some time for that. And for a lot of people, that's where you can meet different trainers and people. Jeff Galloway, for instance, has been down there for years and meeting and greeting people, and he is so nice and personable. He makes time for everyone, so you're going to be in that line for a little bit, but when you get up there, he's going to make time for you to talk to you. And so I don't need taping. I usually don't need shirts or shorts or anything else or gel, but if there's anything you left behind and you don't have, there's where you can get it. And like I said, just give yourself time to get there. And if you're in the resorts, usually there is a bus going from the resort to the expo. So if you don't drive directly to the expo, you can take a bus. So once you've collected everything from the expo, then it is time to, depending on what time you did it, but that evening, do your final carb loading meal, get everything laid out for the 5K the following morning, and do whatever you do as part of your pre-race prep the night before. In my case, it is laying all my clothes out so I don't forget anything, laying any fuel out if you need it. I go ahead and I pin the bib to the shirt so it's not on there crooked the next morning. Just do everything possible. I put my contacts out because I prefer running in contacts than glasses. So do all of that the night before. If you do pre-race pasta, that type thing, do it. And then try to get a little bit of sleep because the next morning is the 5K.